Greetings, mathematicians. Today we're looking at example 6 in section 6.1, simplifying rational expressions to the lowest terms. And everything we've seen so far has actually been identical factors simplifying. So for example, here's the notes page on the previous one. 3 times x times 3 times y. Well, the 3's are factors, so 3 divided by 3 simplifies to 1 over 1, which leaves you x over y. However, here we have things that are simplifying to negative 1. So any number and its opposite, if you see 1 in the numerator and you see its opposite in the denominator, they simplify to negative 1. So what we're going to see in algebra is something similar to this. 2 minus x divided by x minus 2. They're opposites. Here the 2 is positive, here the 2 is negative. Here the x is negative, here the x is positive. Those are opposites of each other. So when you have opposites, one in the numerator, its opposite in the denominator, they simplify to negative 1. So with that being said, let's take a look at 6a and b. The numerator in a is already factored, it can't be factored further. So that's going to stay x minus 5. However, the denominator is a difference of squares, which means perfect square minus another perfect square. Let's let that focus. There we go. Perfect square minus another perfect square, and it factors to its conjugates, a plus b times a minus b. So in this case, that would factor to 5 plus x times 5 minus x. And I want you to notice that x minus 5 and negative x plus 5 are opposites of each other. Here the x is positive, here it's negative. Here the 5 is negative, here it's positive. So these two factors are opposites of each other. They do simplify, but they simplify to negative 1 over 1. And I do want to remind you that it's a good idea to just leave, if it simplifies to negative 1 over 1, leave the negative in the numerator, keep it away from the denominator. So what we have here is equal to negative 1 divided by 5 plus x. And since this is the only factor, it doesn't need the parentheses there. For b, let's take a look at b. B is going to simplify. Well, there's a. Here's b. The GCF is 2 in the numerator, so 2 times x minus 3. That divided by, here I can actually factor out, I could factor out the 5. When I do that, I'm going to get 5. If I just factor out the 5, then it's going to be 3 times up minus x. So 5 times 3 gives me my 15. 5 times negative x gives me my negative 5x. But again, here I have opposites, x minus 3 and 3 minus x. When I have opposites, one in the numerator, one in the denominator, they simplify to negative 1 over 1. So what's left after simplifying is negative 2 in the numerator followed by 5. And let me go ahead and box those in. And one thing at the very bottom, it does show how in example 1a, there's a couple different ways to actually write that answer. The one I wrote is the one that the calculator is going to default to with the negative in the numerator. I actually do like the negative in front of the parentheses. We still get the same answer. And then of course you could put it in the denominator, but I would stay away from that one, and I would prefer the first two. Either one of those first two is actually fine with me. But that's how you do example number 6. Let's move on.